All right, for those of you still standing, this is the final countdown. Find a seat. I can't remember that old saying, find your seat or lose your... Anyways. You know, when you miss your seat, you get up and somebody else takes it. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm waiting for the command from Ken to make sure we're all good. And we're good. So we'll go ahead and get this meeting started. It is today's January 25th. Awfully windy outside. When I got here, I understand it's no longer calm. So if you hear a loud smash, it is just the furniture against the windows up here. So we hope that that doesn't keep going on. So we'd like to welcome all new members and guests. I think currently right now I'm a guest. So if you haven't renewed your membership, please do so before the nominations, which is in March. And we'll talk about those later. So are there any new members? Any guests? Please stand. Thank you. And did you fill out? We welcome you. Thank you. All right, new pilots, new ratings. Anybody here? We know there's an ongoing chat going for the online group, but if you're a new pilot or new rating. Any new or new to you balloons? Anybody? No? All right. Ballooning in the community. Has anybody done any ballooning in the community lately? I know, it's been like a slow time with the holidays. Karen? Very nice, thank you. For those of those on Zoom that didn't get to hear Karen, she's been working with the Balloon Museum in regards to RCs as well as the Nuclear Museum, and they just had a brand new RC delivered to Bill and Susie Flint. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, so, and I'd also like to have a moment of silence for our members who have recently passed away, Clark O'Byrne and Cookie C. So if you would mind having a moment with me. Clark's wife did ask that we pass along to all of our members, as well as I will put it out there in an email and social media. They will be having Clark's service here this Friday, starting at 4 p.m. with a balloon glow to follow. Cookie C, I just found out the information. There will be a celebration of life March 5th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. down here at Balloon Fiesta Park. We'll also convey that for everybody. So I will be here on Friday if anybody has any questions as well. We can answer those after the meeting. So I will hand this over to Peter so he can get this party started.
Gonna take off my mask? All right. Does everybody have a drink? Can't have a party without drinks, right? All right. Today's speaker is actually two speakers. We are doubly blessed. And I was trying to come up with some cute names for the two of them, but they are the first and second place finishers at this past year's America's Challenge. So you could say experience and enthusiasm, or age and newness, or as Ray said, Pat Sajak and Vanna White. I'm not sure who is Vanna White and who's Pat Sajak here, but I think I know. So Zerek Welz, who finished in first place, is here somewhere. Here he comes, and he's going to tell you. I just want to say I think this is an interesting contrast to a presentation we had a couple months ago from Dave Eichhorn, who I don't think is here, who talked about competing at the Nationals. And I think there's a significant difference in attitude and community between Nationals and here. You've flown Nationals also, haven't you? So maybe you can do a little comparison shopping for us. But no, that's fine. Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Howdy. All right, so we'll just roll right into it. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Zerek Welz. I received my pilot certificate in 2016, started flying competitively in 2018, and I flew my first Fiesta in 2018 also, where I managed to win 10th place. And this year, I managed to squeak out the win up ahead of Ray here. Oh, no, don't flip yet. Do I tell you whenever I want to advance? Okay. So, what's the secret? Man, I wish I knew. But if I had to boil it down to anything, I think it would probably come down to a couple of these things. Just throw the damn baggie. Get to the field every day and throw the bag. That was advice that I heard whenever I first started getting into competition, is the best way to win Fiesta is get to the field every day and make a score. And that worked out. You can lose some battles to win the war. You probably won't get a better pass. Don't think that you're going to pass over the field again. Just throw. And you'll also need a little bit of luck, I think, because that last day definitely needed some luck on that day. Along with that, make sure you say hi to Pepe, the chicken. If you're not familiar with Pepe the chicken, he guards the north gate. I think he helped with the luck thing. Also, along with that, we joke that I need to be more positive, and I should always say more positive things. And that came up during nationals, and that I need to I needed to make a daily affirmation. And so, during the launch for the last day, my daughter Ashlyn reminded me to say it. So I yelled out to her, "Gosh darn it! I'm a good pilot, and people like me." And also, you gotta just have, a little bit of perseverance. If you don't feel like you know the skills or have the skills to get there to the podium where you're at today, just push yourself to learn those skills. I started out Top Gun. That helped me navigate so that I could execute the tasks that I needed to execute. And along those lines, I'm going to talk about a little bit about how I got started. So this is from the Great Texas Balloon Race in 2018. It's one of the biggest competitions in the U.S. This is just after takeoff from the first morning, and you get over the tree lines, and it's so many trees there if you've never been there. We were still relatively new to competition at this point, and I was super pumped with how well we did that morning, or how well I thought we did that morning at the beginning. We got the balloon up in about 17 minutes, or no, 19 minutes. And that, for us, that was super quick at the time. But if you zoom in a little, oh, I have my sheets out of, uh-oh. I'll wing it. So looking at that picture, we'll zoom in a little bit more. Let's go to the next one. So this right here is all the competitors or most of the competitors for the morning, finishing up the third and final task as I'm getting off the ground. Let's see. There it is. So I've learned a little bit since then, starting off with just how I set things up in my basket to sort of take that mental load off of me whenever we're getting going. So what's in the basket? What am I flying with? Well, for Fiesta, it's not this. During a competition like Great Texas Balloon Race or Nationals, where I got to track multiple targets one after the other, then I have a setup that looks more like this. But since I'm here, I'm going to get on my soapbox for a minute. When pictures like this are posted, it's oftentimes where everyone looks at it and it's like, oh, there's so many screens and all these devices and so many things to just distract you while you're flying. Really, except for my tablet up in your top right, except for my tablet, it's the same or similar equipment and tools competitive flyers have been flying with in the past. The computer's primary function during the flight is it's just a moving map, so paper maps. The tablet, it's only used for one specific application, which is dropping markers or electronic markers, so it's essentially a baggie. The GPS in the bottom right is just a GPS. It's equivalent to like a compass if you were using that with a moving map or anything. Once I turn it on and everything's connected, before I take off, I don't touch it until I land. So during the competition flying, my only extras from a standard flight then are the tablet, a second radio, and this clipboard over here, which leaves me with a computer, a dedicated GPS, a radio, and my flight instruments. Now, the flight instruments, obviously, I can't get rid of those. The radio, not required, but I prefer being able to talk to my crew and other pilots in the air. So, does that mean I fly with a computer and the GPS all the time? Yes and no. I don't fly with that computer and that GPS. I fly with my phone. These phones wouldn't do the trick, but most modern smartphones, or the tablet that Fiesta gave us this year, which you don't even need to be connected to the internet for it to use with GPS, will show you a moving map and the GPS location. My computer on that board it's just a bigger screen, and I can use the program on it to draw some fancy lines to get to the target or multiple targets for the most part. The GPS is there just so my tablet and the computer are both sharing the same data, and whenever I'm flying to one target on the computer screen, my tablet, if I push the button, they're both reading the same data. So my phone has the same responsibilities as the computer, just a smaller screen. It's just a moving map, so I can see where I am, what's ahead of me. The phone, tablet, or computer doesn't dictate where I'm flying. It's just another tool to provide information during the flight. So with that, it removes most of the things out of the basket that take up space. Go to the next slide. Including the board itself, which leaves me with my minimal setup of a RAM mount and just my phone. So, boom. And I got the RAM mount over there, but I forgot to bring it up. So it's mostly what I'm saying is it doesn't have to be a complicated thing. Just know where you're going, and you can do that. I don't know if Ray is flying with a bunch of. I don't think. Do you fly with a uniphone? Okay. Yeah. So. Most of us know where Fiesta Field is. I think most of us can fly there, but the phone or some device is nice because going this direction, and I'm going to miss the field just to the right if you're trying to make it dead center over the field. Go ahead and go to the next slide. But more important than any device is your markers. If you forget those, you can't win, I'm told. Gloves are not valid markers, I don't think, right? And then, so with that, you also need to make a plan for the flight. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So I have a website that I use that I've been working on that helps me line up so I know where my takeoff point is, and I can measure to where I want to go. Tells me my heading, and I can make a plan for that launch site to the field. And then with planning the flight, go ahead and go to the next slide. Try and partner up with someone. It's not a requirement, but I prefer having someone to bounce ideas off of. Helps to work with someone in the air. And then instead of guessing what another balloon is that you're looking at, maybe your partner's up at 500 feet more than you are, so you know specifically what that direction is, or you can relay your direction to them. So yeah, it's better information. Next slide. Also, know what the task is before you head off the field. Before you leave that briefing area, understand what you're supposed to be doing, how many bags you're supposed to be taking off with, and what you're supposed to be doing once you arrive to the field. Don't get to the field and then, oh wait, what am I doing here? Next one. So these are some of the common tasks, but for the most part, all of our tasks are some variation of fly to the X, get as possible. There might be some tasks where you have to throw double ones. And if there are two tasks at the field, just make sure that you have some sort of a system set up so that you know which bag that you need to work with first. So I will oftentimes fly with, it's just a tool belt that I think I got from Lowe's or something, and the bag that I plan to throw first goes in the rightmost pouch. The second bag goes in the next one. Or if I have a bunch of bags, then they both go in the right one, and then I have a plan once I pull those out. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Next slide. For this one, I heard quite a few people that got confused with the task because of the multiple triangles, so they thought that it was a double drop. And if I recall correctly, that if you threw 2 bags, they, I think, disqualified you for that day, which is no bueno. You can't win Fiesta if you don't score every day. For the task with specific scoring areas like this, get the best one that you can, but just make sure that you get a score. Even though this triangle here is 20 feet and these are 40, for Fiesta, someone that gets here gets 1,000 points. You could be second in this one, and that gives you 999 points. It doesn't make a difference. It can make a difference, obviously, of 6 points, but just get your points. So along that, the Sid Cutter Memorial is a great example of a really tough task where we can get really excited because we go for the boat and we have our 6-story egos, and so we want to get that super badass shot of us dropping it right on the end of the boat. But then if it falls off the boat, you're out. So just get it in an island if you can, or just throw it into the boat. Just get that score. Most days, you're not going to win the event, but any day could take you out of the running. Next slide. So picking your launch site. So you know what you're doing once you get to the field now. So now you need to figure out how you're going to get there. With the wrong launch site, you're going to have a tough time getting back to the field, or tougher than you want it to be. Next slide. So I think we all know how to use pie balls. Use that satellite information on your phone or whatever. Motion X is not available anymore. I actually don't have any good recommendations. So is anyone good? If you would like an invitation to the app I'm working on, it's fairly buggy, but I'm happy to pass along. Email me or message me, and then I can send you an invite. Keep an eye on the weather, because maybe things are, maybe Brad has relayed something that's going to change. So this, a particular launch site might look good right now, but if you expect everything to start coming out of the east in 20 minutes whenever you're actually going to launch, then it's not that great of a launch site. So keep an eye on the weather, especially with the later launches during Fiesta, which is always a factor because things get squirrely. Use the detect wind plotter if you're not. It's just to the north of the field, typically during Fiesta. Provides invaluable information because it's basically telling you what the wind is doing at the field. During the rest of the year, it's out at Double Eagle Airport, and it can still provide useful information for us that fly locally here out on the West Mesa. But, next slide, make sure that you check up at the top where it says time since update. It can occasionally get stale, so make sure that that is fairly recent, not saying like 2 hours or 2 days ago. Next slide. Along with the launch site, landowner relations. I always try to be a good steward for the community to make sure that we treat our landowners well, because without them, then we lose a lot of good launch sites. For the launch site that we had this day, from day one, we actually had the basket out. We were just tipping it over. We had gotten permission from the work crew that was there, and they said, hey, can you move, please, because the owner of the property, that they don't want us to bother the neighbor that's right next to store. Sure. Did that suck? Did that delay our launch by a little while? Yes, absolutely. But I'm willing. I'm not gonna, kick my feet. No, you said I could. No, yes, absolutely. I'll move. So during the flight and approaching the field. So flying into the field with 500 of your best friends all sharing the air with you can be tough. So again, I'm going to iterate. Keep an eye on the detect wind plotter whenever you're flying in. If things are changing, it will do those updates, and you'll figure out that your speeds or your directions or whatever are changing. Next one. There's different views for the detect wind plotter. It has this wind bar view that gives you sort of a history, so you can see if things are trending, or if there's some higher winds that are sort of dropping down. You'll see it angle down throughout the morning, and it's like, oh, okay, so everything is going south a little higher. maybe I can anticipate that sort of coming down to the surface. Next slide. Watch others in the air. Check for other balloons getting a track that you might want, or even better, that you especially want to avoid. Because maybe if you get that track, then you get blown off and you never get to the field. Aim for the lowest approach that you can coming over the field. Avoid getting stuck over other balloons. Sorry. Which can force you to come up and throw from higher up than you really want to. As you approach the field, make sure, go through it in your head. Is the plan that you're trying to execute still possible? Can you line up with some physical landmark on the field to visualize the approach easier? So on this one, my plan was to hook over, and I saw everyone taking that hook, and it's like, all right, the target's along the road, so just fly along the road. I'm not worried about the target, because if I know if I line up with that road, I will eventually fly close to the target. Next slide. If work with your crew. If there's a specific direction you're wanting, again, your 500 closest friends are also up in the air with you. It can be, you got to pay attention. Have your crew pay attention for you. Say, I'm looking for something to get me north. I'm looking for something to get me west. And then they can look around for you, and which lets you fly your balloon, aviate, navigate, communicate, right? And then they can also give you landmarks from the ground if they're at the field. So the blue and yellow balloon just passed over the south pylon, and they have a great track. Stuff like that is very useful. And then if you have crew at the field, you can have them put up what's called a fish, and it's just a helium balloon on a fishing line. It'll move back and forth. That can be really useful because if it's not being consistent at the field and it's shifting between 10 and 15 degrees, you can work that into your sort of mental calculations as you come in of, all right, it's not going 180, it's not going 190, I'll aim for 185 and I'll get close enough. And like I said, have a plan for whenever you get to the field. So this is from the last day of Fiesta this year. I came into that day in 5th place. I was just aiming to get into the top 10 again. I had no expectations of winning for Fiesta. And after waffling back and forth with launch sites, we decided just get back up into the air as fast as possible, take what we could get, and sort of hope for the best. My launches now are a bit faster than from that long view shot. We're typically in the air about 9 to 11 minutes now. And up in the air, we expected things to change. So I went into the flight knowing that things were likely changing. So as we're approaching the field, I just wanted to pay attention to the other balloons and watch for whenever any kind of a shift happened or was something dying down or whatever. My goal was just make it to the field so I could throw a bag. I didn't care if I was at the edge of the flags at that point. As soon as I saw the winds dying down that day, I came down because I could tell that all those people that had flown north of the field, there was no way they were getting back to the field because all that south was just turning into a real light west and going away. Next slide. Once you get to the field, now you're just, for me, it's a big field. I'm really just hoping that nothing throws me off from my plan too much. This picture is actually from, I flew right over that pole right in front of me. I was like, oh, I got this. Ken even over the Balloon Fiesta Live says, Zerek is flying right over the pole. He should definitely get it. But I probably just jinxed him. I joked that he did jinx me, but it was on me. Pro tip, if you're flying dead nuts over a pole, just run into the pole. Don't try and drop it. It's going to bounce off. Just boop. and it's very sad. Another thing about the poles, though, is the poles, fantastic. They're super awesome to get. I got one the first year that I flew. It's exhilarating, and it screwed up my throw that I had to do right after that, actually. But while they're great, if you want to win, the poles are always a secondary thing. It's great if you can get it, but that should never be your primary goal going into the field. I'm going to play a clip now, which is from Chris Cliver's basket during day 2, sort of putting everything together here. So, like I said before, the plan for today, am I still actually going out? Okay. Was just to fly along the road. He obviously has a similar plan. I had 2 plans whenever I was coming for actually getting over the target. If it looked like I was going to fly center over the targets, then I would throw my fly-in, the X bag, first, and then I'd go for the south triangle, which is the closer one. Otherwise, if it looked like I would miss that south triangle, then I was just going to take any of the triangles the best I could, and then just throw the fly-in as close as possible also. So unfortunate for Chris, I kind of ended up nudging him out of the way a little bit here in a second. So Chris's approach here is more of my secondary, what I would have done if I was in his position too. Like, just take what you can for the fly-in, take what you can for the Gordon Bennett. And you can see me sort of throwing the bags also right there. And the cowbell right there is me too. So going back to the day 4, where getting to the field almost wasn't good enough. I made it into the flagged area. That's that green marker right there. I had enough time to have a nice conversation with Paul, where he asked how valuable it was for me to not hit the ground. I said very valuable. So from that green, so the green mark is me entering the flagged area. The red is about where I threw. That was about 18 minutes of ground tracking. That was stressful. So really, it's just be patient, and then you don't know when the right time is. I've thrown the baggie tons of times where it's, oh, I throw it now, and then that was way too late or way too early. You hope for the best once you release the bag. After my throw here, I sort of went off into Never Never Land, and I was trying to find some wins for my friend Casey that I was flying with. And there was also a hope that I could maybe get back to the field and make a toss for my ring. And so, yeah, you put that all together, next slide, and it's just that easy, Go do it. So to summarize everything, launch site selection, don't be afraid to go out a little bit ways beyond the minimum if you have to. It might feel very far, but chances are a lot of people are making the same decisions you are for particular lines, because there's not a ton of launch sites for some lines, like flying north to south. Identify the end, corner, some landmark to approach the field, and stay flexible as to which target you're going to actually approach. So that goes along with the make sure that, or let your plans change. It'll probably change a couple times. That's the patience thing. And try not to get caught above other balloons. That was one of the reasons I ended up coming down in that video, is I didn't want to get stuck over Chris, because if I had to throw from that much higher, then that makes it that much harder to get inside those triangles. And carry your most powerful lucky charm. I have my favorite lucky underwear. I'm sure you all do too. And with that, thank you everyone that has helped me grow as a pilot since I got started. I appreciate all the stories, advice I've received over the years. And I appreciate and thank you to my fantastic crew and that puts up with my occasional crankiness. And thank you to everyone that helps and has helped with Fiesta to make it the fantastic and wonderful event it is today. And Ray's going to correct all my mistakes.
I'm the Vanna White, remember? I think Zerek has covered almost everything that I would be willing to say. He forgot one thing, however, and that is that you must enter Fiesta with the attitude that you're going to compete. Because the problem that I have is I have friends from New York, the Carolinas, Florida, and they're not really interested in the competition, and so I tend to blow off some days to just give rides. Now this year it was fortunate because I was flying the Fiesta balloon, and my partner said they wanted to see that balloon on the field just for the PR purposes. So I was now motivated at least to get to the field. My thought is that there's just a couple of really important things. This is really an easy competition from the standpoint of complexity. That's not the issue that you have to deal with. The difficult part is all the other balloons. If you were just asked to fly into the field, you could manage that on your own. But when there's 200 coming in with you, that makes this task really difficult. I remember as a young pilot, I could get to the field all right, but I was afraid to drop down in that pack of balloons. And you just got to get in there and bump it around a little bit, you know. Make sure you're not going up and down too fast. But even at that, it's a little unnerving. And I think you've got to get used to that if you're going to compete seriously. From the launch site into the vicinity of the field, I am focused on balloon traffic wherever it is, because I'm really looking for that last few degrees at the end. I mean, you looked at Zerek's tracks there, they're all over the damn place. This isn't like flying in Texas where you just lay out a line and make sure you get the line right, and if you're lucky you got 5 degrees of steerage. I mean, here you can just about run circles. You just have to be able to find it. And so pay a lot of attention to the traffic near the field and go with that. And then, you know, I don't really have a lucky charm, but I sure believe in luck. Once you drop into that field, it's all over the place, quite frankly. And on a good day, it blesses you. On a bad day, you're off caught in the fence on the west side. So good job, Eric, and congratulations.
Thank you, Ray.
Any questions for Eric?
Oh, yes. Any questions? Those are all Karens. I don't know where they all came from. This year so the first year that I was just kind of, like Ray said, I was flying to the field and just hoping for the best. I was not expecting much, and then I got given it. This year, I did not, I looked at where the poles were, but that was not part of my flight planning. If it happened to line up with where I was going to go, great. But I was changing my plan to get to a target to go to a pole. Because I wanted the targets. I didn't want the poles. I wanted the poles, but the primary goal was the targets. Anything else? Anything online?
What has been your experience? This question, please.
He said, what was the difference in if I've competed in a round balloon or in a racer? So I am in a racer now. That Great Texas Balloon Race was actually in Firefly 77. It is different. It's just the racer lets me go up and down a little bit faster. For Fiesta, I would say that it doesn't, because Fiesta, I try to, you know, you're trying to stay more at a slower pace anyways, so I don't think it makes too much of a difference, except that there is probably some opportunity where I either do or don't catch winds that some of the big balloons do because it's a greater surface area. Like I have one clip that I didn't put into this, but everyone is sort of just going past me, and I'm just sort of not moving. And I don't know if that's a racer thing, because there's other racers in there too, so they were kind of going past me also. So I don't know what the difference for that was. The question was, do I always fly solo or do I fly with a navigator? For competition flights outside of, like for Great Texas Balloon Race Nationals, I always fly those solo. For Fiesta, I was more than willing to fly with someone, but it was so warm this year that I wanted to have an extra tank over a person, and my crew was willing to sacrifice that, so I flew with the extra tank. And really that's just so that I know that sometimes getting into Fiesta can be slow, and so I wanted to make sure I had the fuel to manage that. And that's really the primary reason for me flying solo anyways, is I want to have the extra fuel so that I can do longer flights if necessary. Oh. Kelly, go. Have I ever been at a competition where they had a requirement for solo-only flight? And we did, so we did. This year, no, I didn't have to worry about that so much. Also add to that, the extra tank does add a little bit more weight for me also, so that goes into the fat racer thing also a little bit more, where it puts me up closer to my threshold, and so whenever I vent, I go down, and it lets me be a little bit more responsive also. This year, Fiesta, I didn't have to worry about too much longer flights, but for me, it was just a planning thing. I would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Was it most about an hour long, or what kind of time?
I honestly don't remember. I think there was maybe only one that I maybe went over an hour. I think the rest of them were around 45 minutes or so. Because for the most part, once you're done scoring, then I'll just land at the south edge of the field if possible, and then we're done from there. The fourth day, since it was so calm and I was trying to find those wins for my partner Casey, that was why I went up. So that extended that flight. That was probably the one that was over an hour, and that still ended up pushing me like just outside the north gate. Will, how did I understand the different tasks and rule sets set by the FAI? That's a good question. I feel like I probably still don't know everything, and I wouldn't claim to know everything as far as those tasks. I feel like I have a reasonable understanding. I try to read the rule books. I even read the rule books for this, for Fiesta, before I go into it, because that lets me know what might get called. If they do call anything weird, I think that there was maybe one during this last Nationals, or there was some event that I've gone to where I looked at the rule book and I was like, I was familiar with it, but I had to go back and reference that material again just so that I could work out how it would work within the whole task sheet. Differences between flying here in Albuquerque and other places elsewhere that I've flown. So like here it's more variable, and that I hear that joke often on variable days elsewhere that we go to. So in Scottsbluff 2 years ago, we had a light and variable day, and everyone was like, "Oh, Zerek, you should do well today because it's light and variable." And it's like, no, it's light and variable. That means we all have equal amount of luck working for us. So like Texas or Iowa, for the most part, they have 10 to 15 degree sort of cone that goes out from any launch site that you might get, and you'll have that steerage to work with, but you'll know you have that for pretty much the whole morning. Actually, this past year in Iowa, it was a light and variable day. That turned into a 2-hour flight, so that was the extra fuel that day, and everyone was frustrated by it because it's hard to gauge those light and variable days. So I'll repeat what Karen sort of said. We work with our crew to make sure that they understand the tasks, not just I understand the tasks, so that they can double check my work. If if I'm coming into the target, they'll remind me, hey, gravity drop, or this doesn't look right the way that you've put it in, so that it's just double checking my work, so I'm not the only one that understands the task sheet. They can work with me to make sure that we all get it.
Got to have a support group, right? 3 comments online, mostly just saying thank you for a great presentation and very informative. So I think we'll wrap it up now unless anybody has one last question. I'll hand it back over to Karen.
Thank you. Thank you, Zerek. All right. So we'll go ahead and move along to, that's all right. It's like a Monday. So if the microphone. So we'll go ahead and move along to board reports. Peter?
I can't remember my own name, John, right? Hi, Karen. Not a whole bunch to report. I have had conversations with Mr. Gary Medina. He promises us a waiver in time for Friends and Lovers. I have made several changes to the waiver at his request. He says he's now happy with the waiver, so it's just a matter of processing the paperwork. Unfortunately, the waiver will not allow us to fly into the Class C airspace without ADSB, and it's not even clear if we could fly into Class C airspace if we did have ADSB, because it's not clear how you put an ADSB unit into a balloon. Other than that, I'm still looking for a speaker for February. If anybody has any great topics and they'd like to volunteer, come talk to me. I think that's about it. Well, of course, March, which is not next month, we're still got February to get through, but March is the elections, and if anybody would like to volunteer for any of the open positions on the election, we would greatly appreciate it. And that will be also our raffle. There won't be a speaker in March, but there'll be lots of good things to spend your money on. And I know with COVID, you haven't had much chance to spend your money, so you'll want to spend it in March.
Thank you, Peter. All right, no, you're good. All right, so Secretary Taylor. Oh, I think that probably helps to turn it back on.
So we've had several, is that working right? Okay. We've had several new members since our last meeting in November. So I'm just going to name them. We've got Melanie Cabanis, Cletus McDonald, Lori McGovern, John Wall, Ryan Bair, Ray Ituyerold, and Kaylin Hadamio. And then other than that, just keep getting all your renewals in. But that's it.
Thank you, Taylor. All right. Treasurer Dick.
My charts will be in the cloud bouncer.
For those on Zoom, pie charts will be in the cloud bouncer.
Any questions at all?
So Dick said the cloud bouncer pie charts. He also is putting his number out there on the wall, and his email is treasure@hotairballooning.org. His phone number is what? 505-239-0200. Yes. So. No, we won't give Judy's number out. So he also said, thank you for all the membership dues. Keep them coming in, is what he said. So we'll move along to education, Peg. Well, in lieu of Peg, it'll be Ken Tooley.
So Peg is vacationing in California here, having a good time. She didn't even Zoom in tonight, so I don't know what the deal is there. Anyway, our online ground schools, both private and commercial, are now up. Our commercial will be fully functional as of tomorrow, so we finished the last piece. If any of you were waiting for that, it will be there as well. They are available now, both private and commercial. Our in-person ground schools, private pilot, the first weekend of March, and our commercial in-person ground schools scheduled for the last weekend of April. All of those in-person and online ground schools, $199. Go to the website, go to the store, sign up for them, and get started. So that's the good news, and we're actually getting really good response. I didn't bring the numbers with me, but we're probably, it was in the 70s of the number of people that have actually been online, with a fairly large percentage of them actually completing the course, 30 of them, and then there's like 15 or so that didn't make it in their 6 months. Something happened along those lines, but still really a really good success rate. Continue to get really good feedback. Pass the word about ground schools, online or in person, same price. And not really related to education, but related to our website. We're going to be moving the location of our website tomorrow morning. For you won't notice the difference. It's going to look the same. It's a back end. We're moving from one server at the same place to a second server at the same place. What may happen sometime tomorrow morning, there may be a few minutes where you get a server not available. Just give it a couple more minutes and get back to it. We should have very little downtime as we make that move tomorrow, just so that you know. That's it. What was your name again?
Thank you, Peg. All right. So we'll move along to flying events. Doug, come on down.
He needs a new name, too.
Darth.
All right, good evening, everybody. We started out the year with our club competition in January with the flying task up to Rio Rancho, of which Team Fiesta, consisting of Sam Parks and Paul Smith, took first and second place. So those scores are posted. There should be some pictures out there as well. Peter talked earlier about the waiver. Next month is our Friends and Lovers event. First time we've had it in 2 years. I'm expecting a really good turnout. What we do that particular weekend is obviously going to consist, depends upon the weather and the waiver. I'm also looking for some extra crew people. If anybody's going to want to donate, I'd like to try to do a hare and hound with the pig on Saturday morning. If there's some extra bodies out there that would like to help me that morning, I'd appreciate it. We'll have more information later to finalize Friends and Lovers for February. Any questions? Good?
That was a pig and hound? So I'll skip ahead since Elisa's not able to make it. I will be sending out an email. It'll probably end up tomorrow morning. So about the baggy rules, the theme, the cook-off. The very important thing is, and ready, due to recent changes with the city, you cannot have alcohol in the CID on Saturday and Sunday, unless we start a GoFundMe for the extra city security. So yes. That's a recent change. So we are paying for security for Friday night for the registration, but on Saturday you can tailgate outside, whatever tailgating means to you, orange juice, hors d'oeuvres, snacks outside, but please make sure to pick up your garbage. And discretion is always requested. So I'll be sending all that out for Friends and Lovers. Registration closes February 10th. So make sure if you have not registered, please do so. That way they can accommodate and give you lots of goodies for that. But the email will go out tomorrow morning. So, and then community relations, there's not any requests. So I'll just move along. All right, Karen, come on down. The price is right with Ways and Means. Come on down.
Hey everybody, not a whole lot to report. We had our paint night last week. Was that last week? It was super fun. Pretty good turnout. We made $462, which was super cool. Everyone had a good time. So I'm actually going to work on another one. It was a ballooning scene, and we thought there would be time to customize it, but it wasn't. So I'm actually working on a paint your own balloon night. They do like paint your pets. So I'm working on that for later. Oh, other than that, I've sent out corporate membership forms and then working on the 22 pin. I don't have a whole lot right now until March when it's the general meeting. And if you have like cool stuff in your closet you want to donate for auction, I will find somewhere in my house to store it till March.
Thank you very much. All right, let's see. Sue, crew development, come on down.
You would think after all this time I get used to public speaking, but no. All right, so not a whole lot this month. We had no games in January because Sue just wanted to be on crew for a change. In February, there will be a couple games for friends and lovers. And if you were in the top 5 for last year in competition for crew games, we're going to need at least one crew member to be there on Saturday to pick up your prizes. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, so the last thing is nominations. So the nomination chair is present via Zoom. He had a slight hiccup and was not able to make it this evening. So I'm going to open the open call on the floor for the following chairs: President, Treasurer, Education, Flying Events, and Crew Development. So do I hear any volunteers on the floor for a wonderful 2-year term? Lots of perks, monthly speaking, a couple meetings, so if you know anybody or are interested, you can email or call Eric Hodges. You can also Facebook message him, however method you feel that you can get around to it. And I think I see a few volunteers who have signed up for treasurer. Not Neil, don't worry. He thought he was being volunteered. So since I don't hear any calls for volunteers or nominations, this will remain open and we'll close it out in February. So, but if you are even slightly inclined, the only seat I don't think he has a running mate for is president. So who wants to be the orchestrator kind of thing? So sign up. All right, so we'll move along. So anybody from the FAA present? No. We hope to be seeing them soon. BFA? I don't see any BFA. We know definitely they're planning their symposium as well as conference in April in Topeka. So don't miss out on your early registration opportunity. I'm going to skip ahead to Balloon Fiesta since I'm already up here, and then I'll come back to the other ones. Important date. Everybody know? It's about 12 days away. February 7th is for primary pilot applications only to start. America's Challenge is going to be March 7th. RC balloons, April 4th. Additional pilots will be once your primary pilot has been approved, because we don't want to make you fill it out if the cards are dealt a different way. So yes, February 7th, 8 a.m. We're not saying you have to do it on that opening day. I encourage you the first week, but not opening day. You can if you're so inclined, but yes. And then it'll be closing on March 31st. So remember that. And then also the last thing is we're having the Misfit sale down in the office. Lots of good stuff, especially if you're a pin collector. Come on down. So, and that's open from 9 to 5 until the end of the month. So about a week, right? Monday of next week. It's at the gift shop. So we still have lots of good stuff, but it's called the Misfit sale. So other than that, we'll move along. Yes, Monday the 31st, everything else gets donated to Quad A. So, yes. And then we'll move along to VFRS.
It's on.
Come on. Do you want to come up or do you want to? Even if you stand on the side, it'll still read as long as you don't get too far out there. Or step so she can see.
Good evening. So my name's William Manis. If you guys don't know me, as of yesterday, I am now the balloon meister for the St. Patty's Day Rally. You guys may have heard some misinformation temporarily last week. We were told earlier Thursday that the rally was off, and as of Friday it was back on. So we'll be getting out the actual, everyone who put in a invite or got an invite and put in registration, you'll be getting your follow-up letter here shortly. So, anything else, Kelly? That we will be discussing tomorrow, but I do not believe so. I believe we're full.
Thank you. So for those of you on Zoom, St. Patty's Day in Belen is back on, and you'll be getting a follow-up letter. Thank you, Will. All right, so last one is Top Gun, and then we have one more after that. Second to last.
Okay, thank you. All right, just wanted to add on to what Zerek's speech and what you said, Ray. Roller derby ballooning is a bit new to me. One year, Jonathan scolded me for not dropping down aggressively and bumping him to the center of the field. because the guy who won it that year bumped him into me, that bumped me to West Bejesus. So yeah, roller derby ballooning. The other thing I wanted to mention is the safety seminar on 26 February is going to be in the Sid Cutter. Looks like we're going to be small enough to go in the 4,000 square foot part of the building. The registration's open. Stop by, call, see me. The theme this year is Safety Third. If you're familiar with Mike Rowe, there's a nice video out there where he talks about the deadliest catch and his operations up in the Bering Sea, where he learned the lesson about safety is his responsibility. And it kind of goes along with what Schwankowski said last year at the GEBA safety seminar about what happened up in New York. And if you're interested, I'll give you the whole story, or come to the safety seminar and learn some more. Also, Will is going to talk about bumping your head hazards. Don't know why I picked him, but yes. Top Gun. All right, I am the new board president. So you see what happens when you don't step forward. Thank you. Kelly Price is the 2021 club champion. So thanks to Kelly. All right, and I think Will Fitzpatrick was second, weren't you? You were somewhere up in there, yeah. So we had a successful year despite the weather. We are looking at giving ourselves a backup day on the weekends now, to where we'll probably schedule more things, more events for Saturday, and if we get winded out, we'll have Sunday as a backup. All right, and then there's been a request from the out-of-towners. Colorado used to have a pretty aggressive competition up there, and they've dropped it. So they like coming down here, so they'd like to see more two-day events as well. So March is our next two-day event. Encourage you all to look at joining. It's about honing your skills, and as Ray Bair says, flying with a purpose. All right, thank you. Thank you. Don't really have anything especially new on the Balloon Museum Foundation. The exhibit is up at the airport. The work is progressing on the 50th Fiesta exhibit, and the museum is open, so come visit. And we have the raffle. Anything else? Let's get some prizes. All right. I'm going to draw myself this time because I didn't even pull myself a ticket, so I can't be accused of cheating. Well, I could be accused, but. The first number, last three digits, 737. 2737. All right, Anita. Come and pick up whatever you want. You want some headphones? You want a spinner? You need a desktop fidget spinner. You've already got Dave to fidget for you, right? All right, while she's doing that, I'll see if I can come up with a second number. For everyone who's here, sorry about the people online. You don't get to select. These numbers are running in order. 735 this time. I skipped one. You don't like 735? 735. Hey, the family that wins together stays together there. All right, these are big prizes, so we're going to give a lot of them. Oh, I can't use 738. I got to get some new numbers here. Oh, is that somebody? All right. Yeah, it must have been somebody, right? All right, here's a different number. 718, 718. Oh, somebody's got it. Nobody left. We didn't let anybody leave. All right, Eric. You know, we used to give prizes out to our speakers or rewards out, so this is your reward for speaking today. Take the puzzle. Okay, one more, or maybe more than one more. 722. We're all in the low 700s. 722. Oh, boy. I gotcha. But Dick gets... How about a water bottle? You can fill it up with vodka, Dick. Or wine. The water bottle's going. Nobody wants a water bottle. You can tell that some of these things may have come from the Fiesta gift shop. There we go. How are we doing? Still going? 703. All right. Why doesn't everybody just line up and we'll just give prizes out one by one until we're finished with. Earbuds. Good stuff. All right. This is why you came to the meeting, right? Gotta find one that's not 700 here. I don't think it's possible. Okay. I guess I shouldn't be looking at them as I pull them out. I don't know who they belong to. I'm not cheating. Well, not much. 706. 706. Okay, we'll put that one up on the side. It doesn't get another one. All right. 725. 725. Okay. Tell me when to stop, Karen. And this is just a sample of what's going to be available in March, so you guys got to come back for the good stuff in March. Two more. 717. That was my street address back in Chicago when I lived at 717 South Cortland. I bet you wanted to know that, didn't you? Ray has got a question. Ray would like to know if there's anyone here who has worked in the past at the youth summer camps. Are you planning to work this year? Who's organizing it? I'm sure they would love to have you. Actually, I've given talks on gas balloons there too.
For those of you who don't know, I'm moving and I'm cleaning out my house and I have 45 years of crap. So I brought a box tonight, some of which goes to the summer campers, and I was hoping somebody would be here that I could give it to, and I've just discovered that Peter is representing the museum. There's a piece of paper in the pocket that discusses the provenance of that. So if you'll take that away. And then I have a sack for the youth group. And then I got other crap, which I would hand to anybody tonight that might want it. It goes with the basket and everything. I've already given Maybelle Pendleton about 3 boxes of stuff. So anyway, I was hoping there'd be somebody here that'd take this crap off my hands.
Is it Nita Courtney Bueno? We could do that, or we could. I believe it's still. Isn't it still Nita Courtney Bueno who's running it? Nita, are you there online? How are we doing? Are we? One more. Okay. Did we have a taker for 717? I guess we did. And what was that? That was my street address when I was living in Chicago. Yeah, there we go. 701. Come on, Bair. Right, okay, 701. And we're done.
You get 4 language and a water bottle. These are all wonderful puzzles.
It's a poor man's Berlitz. I think we are done. Thank you for coming, everybody. And thank you for the jacket. I may even give it to the museum. I may keep it myself. If you see me wearing it, the 1981, the 10th. Did you fit into this at that point? No.